Well, good afternoon, and thanks for coming today. We are launching the city's 2020 construction season, and we're also announcing a significant additional investment to our street system. We have a very busy construction season planned with about $70 million in new construction. This is considered essential infrastructure work, and it's needed to ensure that we continue to serve our citizens and our businesses. We are also announcing plans to invest an additional $10 million in street work to be done in 2020 and 2021. This extra construction work will help in the economic recovery of our community following our significant steps to reduce the spread of COVID-19. This plan, by the way, came out of my Economic Recovery and Stimulus Task Force, which is a group that I appointed to look at strategies to assist with our economic recovery. Public infrastructure projects are important to our city's economy every year, but especially during an economic downturn. Typically, $1 million in public construction investment equals to about 10 to 20 very good paying jobs in our community. So this is more important now than ever before. The additional work will be focused on street maintenance and will include grind and overlay projects, chip seal work, and also crack sealing. By putting dollars to work, we are putting community members to work. We're also moving ahead with our planned construction projects for 2020. We're improving our streets, protecting the Spokane River, and investing in our water and sewer systems. Also announcing today that the city is working on an $18.5 million construction contract for replacement of the bridge behind me, the Post Street Bridge, the largest single project that the city is launching this year. The Parks Department is continuing work on projects in Riverfront Park and also Manitou Park. And today, the City Street Department is beginning its annual grind and overlay work on arterial projects starting on Northwest Boulevard. So I'd like to have Council President Brian Beggs come and join me, and then following him will be our Public Works Director, Scott Simmons.
Good afternoon. I just want to add that City Council is very excited about all the projects we have this year coming up, and particularly that we can accelerate this $10 million. You know, you entrust us with your hard-earned money to do the public's work. And I would say that we as council members hear from you by phone or by email or meetings about the need to update our transportation infrastructure more than any other issue. So we are excited to partner with the administration to move this forward. And what's great is these days we look at the entire transportation system. So we're looking at improving bicycle infrastructure, pedestrian infrastructure. There's always more to be done to keep the city moving effectively. And as the mayor mentioned, this will have a great economic impact on our city at a time when we need it the most. But it's also a great time to go to work on our streets and bike paths and sidewalks when there's less people using them, less of a disruption. Prices are lower, we get more lane miles to the dollar. And I just want you to know that we are so committed to safety of our workers out there. We're going to be utilizing lots of private contractors and their employees. And while it's great to pay them good family job wages, we're also going to make sure that they are safe doing the essential work of the city. So again, hats off to the mayor, the administration, the council members, and all the people that help make this possible. And I'd love to turn it over now to our Public Works Division Director, Scott Simmons.
Thanks, Council President. Good afternoon, everyone. As the mayor mentioned, in addition to the Post Street Bridge project behind us, we have another number of other projects that are occurring throughout the city. Many of these, as we generally know, are somewhat disruptive to the traveling public, and we felt like more than ever before, with the a majority of people staying at home, by getting these projects out now would result in less impact to our community, so that when folks get back to work and get back to their normal day, there is less of a disruption in and amongst their traveling day. So a couple of the projects that I wanted to highlight that are in some pretty key corridors Along our Hamilton corridor, we will be doing some upgrades to our traffic signals. We will be adding left turn pockets. That'll be from basically the off-ramp at the freeway, right in the DeSmet area, up to North Foothills. We'll also be connecting another part of our South Gorge Trail. We started that project last year. We started at the Sandifer Bridge building a multi-use trail that went about halfway to Red Band Trout Park. That'll be completed this year, so another great amenity for our bike and walkers and joggers through the community. On the downtown library location where we have a CSO tank, that work will be completed this year. That was some work that we had to carry over until we got to a dry season. So in the August timeframe, we'll be doing some pipework connection from Lincoln into Spokane Falls Boulevard. Then we also have a number of projects that are improving our drinking water system throughout the city. That'll include some improvements to our well stations and an additional reservoir tank. And then we have a series of street preservation projects that involve grind and overlays. These will include work on 3rd Avenue, just east of Hamilton. It'll include work on North Nevada, East Wellesley, South Regal, and Hamilton. We'll be making some changes though. We are evaluating some of the projects that are impacted by the COVID pandemic. One project that we are going to delay is the final leg of the East Sprague rehabilitation. That was a project that is quite complex. It has a lot of rock and that needs to be excavated out and around the BNSF line at Division. It also has a lot of interaction from multiple subcontractors that we felt like should there be some impacts on their workforce, it could possibly winter over this project, which we did not want to have that occurring and have to come back next year and do it again. And probably first and foremost, the business community in that area really called out to us to say, hey, can you delay that project next year? They've all been impacted by shutdowns to their businesses, and then having construction on there would just further exacerbate that. So for those reasons, we've decided to delay that project until next year. There will be some postponement of projects just until later in the year. That's around utility work on our north-south corridor. That's primarily connected to the shutdown that WashDOT has right now. We anticipate those projects will get up and going next year. There'll be a few sidewalk and ADA curb ramp projects. Because of the proximity of people working together, we just felt like those would be better for delaying at this point in time. At that time, I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Thank you, Scott. So 2020 is a big construction year for the city of Spokane, and I would just ask that when we start returning to normal again, that you please, when you're inconvenienced by the road construction that you see, that you'll just remember it's all good and that it's helping our economic recovery, it's helping the health of our city and the health of our families. So, any questions? Oh boy. I can't hear you at all. I'm so sorry. Scott, do you want to answer that?
Yes, for the present configuration, we're going to remain with a one-lane northbound, and then more than 50% of the road surface will be multi-use pedestrian, bike, jogging. So you'll see, I don't know the exact dimensions, but you'll see half the road on one side and half the road on the other side that are really extensions of the Centennial Trail. They'll have some amenities in there that has some slowing down of the traffic. There'll be one lane dedicated towards vehicle use. And if you want to see more plans, go on the city's website. It'll actually share with you what those plans are going to look like.
Who knows? You know, they have to plan for something, and so I think by pushing it out, That gives people hope that we will be in a place where we can have it by the end of August, but nobody knows for sure. There's so many unknowns right now. It's just really hard to replan some of these big events, and that's a big event. So we'll just have to see.